Welcome back. Another episode, No Cap Sports, man. You know what I'm saying? Episode 13. Reach back like 1-3, the OBJ episodes, you know what I'm saying? So, Josh, go on and get us started accordingly with that five.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Sorry I'm not coming in super high energy today, guys. It's just been a long day. But I'm still going to bring that fire, not the fire in your pants, the flavor in your ear, talking about what you need to be putting in your speakers. So I'm always going to do my job and do it well. But been a little light on the music scene the past week or so, but there have been some notable headlines. I guess the first one I want to cover, it's kind of music related. It's a stretch, but like I said, small sample size. Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy, not National Basketball Association. This one stands for Never Broke Again, which a lot of NBA players end up broke again, so they couldn't be again. But obviously talking about the recent passing of OTF affiliate and very close friend to Lil Durk and Youngboy is fighting, having some legal issues and dealing with some things on his situation. So Youngboy he did, Von Durk, Old Block, all that stuff in his new album Colors. Durk has kind of seemingly responded with his own diss track to my Aha. There's reports, you can see on Instagram, somebody's putting up billboards in Baton Rouge talking about Durk is better. Durk is better. I'm assuming Durk is better than the YB. What do y'all think about this situation? I guess the YB Durk beef.
Just because I know it's actually real beef and it's not like they're just doing it for sales or anything, bro. I think they're both weird as hell, honestly. Like, bro, just stop beefing. Like, why are you always in your feelings? Like, you don't think that's weird? I understand you a passionate dude, bro, but it's like, get out your feelings. Honestly, both of them.
Exactly, bro. And it's like, you stuck in that house in Utah, bro, making diss tracks, bro. Get your life together first. And then get in the studio and make a diss track.
Take care of your kids, bro. Like, do something productive with your time.
Exactly, bro.
All day.
Go buy some stocks.
Youngboy almost on Sean Kim level. I know Youngboy got at least like 7 or 8, so like, he might that boot might be the only time he just that distraction from being a father. I like what you said, Vance, talking about it's just like it is childish to a certain extent, but you also did make another good point. We talk about a lot of these beefs, disagreements, whatever, are industry related, industry driven, monetarily
and to
produced.
To be honest, this is industry driven, bro.
Nah,
listen. There's no reason Gucci, Baby, all these other guys should be involved. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's industry driven. You bring in the industry and make it a whole industry thing. Now it's NBA versus 4PF, NBA versus 1017.
I feel like once you start talking about dead people on the track, it just it evolves to something different. That's always kind of, for me, that's always kind of been the ultimate form of disrespect. Whether you talk about it on wax or you talk about it, in conversation. And I just think that Charlamagne and God says a lot of times, you're allowed to say whatever you want, but you're not allowed. You're not at all allowed to dictate how people respond. So, I have a lot of friends from Louisiana being down here, but they are a very irrational group of people. And Youngboy has consistently talked down on people that pass that are close to Durk, and that's not territory that you would play in, especially considering that A, you're already fighting a criminal case, and B, you talking about a dude that and Lil Durk that is seemingly the Grim Reaper, him and Lil Reese. All the people that died in Chicago, those probably the only two left, honestly. So it seems like you're talking about the wrong one. It's a very sad situation, really, when you think about it. Like Van said, I wish that we could all be a lot more collaborative and versus competitive, detrimental to ourselves and our community. But hey, I ain't Jesse Jackson, so I'm just here to report what's going on. What's crazy? I would like to see a Youngboy and Durk album at some point too. I don't think it ever happened, especially now. But I think that's just because you're talking about the South versus the North. I think that would just sound interesting as a collab. But because Baby and Durk album was really good. So I don't think we'll see it now.
So for the NFL and a bunch of college guys around the country, it's one of the most exciting times of the year, the pre-draft process. a lot of guys, pursuing their NFL dreams. And a lot of those dreams start at the NFL Combine, which just got started this week. So this week, we're seeing guys from colleges all over the country come in, do all their testing, 40s, broad jump, vertical, all that kind of stuff in hopes of chasing an NFL dream. And a lot of times these combine results have major implications on the draft. So kind of just looking at the combine results from this week, whose stock do you guys think rose the most?
I'm gonna go with the states of North Dakota and South Dakota. So with that being said, in South Dakota, running back Pierre Strong from South Dakota State ran a 4.37. South Dakota State, they've been playing some good football recently. And that was the fastest time out of running backs at the combine. So, he did a great job. And then moving on to North Dakota, and you got to go with the D1 FCS powerhouse, North Dakota State. Wide receiver Christian Watson, he ran a 4.36. The past 3 seasons, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver helping that team win national championships. So I'm going to have to go with those 2 players.
For me, it was kind of they kind of stole the show, honestly. Once it got to the defensive side of the ball, Jordan Davis started it off. 4.82 at
really instinctive.
340 pounds. Crazy considering
that's a big man
top
move.
overall pick, playing almost 100 less around the big. But all of the Georgia guys, talking about Quay Walker, Jordan Davis, Lewis Seed, Devontae Wyatt, Javon Walker, consistently showing out now in the 40 times we're looking excellent in the drills as well. We knew this Georgia defense was historic, but we also know that collegiate success doesn't always translate to NFL prospects. But you got guys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I named right there that are a first round consideration because of the kind of combine that they had. So shout out to Kirby Smart. Shout out to Dan Lanning, because I know he was there. He recruited, actually recruited me and Niall to Memphis when he was at Memphis. So he's at Oregon now. But that's a historic group of draft prospects right there. Like 4.82 at 341.
It was a 4.77.
Oh, was it a 4.77?
Yeah, it was unofficial 4.82.
Oh, well, that's even better. That's
scary.
Very much so. Your number 1 overall pick ran a 4.75 at 260. He's not mine, but he might be yours. So
yeah, and so for me, I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all, bro. I don't give a damn about the NFL Combine, bro. An anonymous source told me, bro.
Why are you asking us about this, Nick, if you don't care about it?
I'm just doing it for the pod, bro. The people want to hear the Combine talk. But the source told me, bro. The source told me these college kids spend around $50,000 to $100,000 and train all day, every day, since the end of the season for 2 days, their Combine and their Pro Day. And then they wonder why half of these folks can't actually play the game. You think about a guy like DK a couple years ago, put up crazy numbers at the Combine, saw him at camp, struggle running the basic routes. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times these Combine numbers don't really translate to on-field play. And that's why personally, I put more stock into what you did on the field than what you do in the underwear Olympics. You know what I'm saying? Because for example, bro, Jordan Davis, cool. Big guy, we know he can play. But just say, for example, he runs a 4.7 40. Does that mean he's a good defensive lineman? Yes or no? Thank you. And so, kind of
that's not how you gonna do that. But again, I got to argue with you. Well, I do, but I'll let you finish up because I respect.
Yeah, because my main point is you can learn how to run a 40. That's nothing but technique. You can, learn how to do 3-cone drills, all of that. You can learn how to test well, but actually playing football doesn't translate to the combine, if you get what I'm saying. So what did you have to say, Josh? I'm gonna let you speak now.
I think that's very true, but it can be used as an additive in terms of another component of the scouting process, and in addition to the on-field production that you mentioned, and also the off the field stuff that matters. We see guys be hampered by that, a la Tyrann Mathieu, Johnny Manziel. The list is way longer than that, but those are the first 2 that came to my mind. I mean, it's a job interview, Nick. It's an NFL player job interview. You wouldn't not study for a job interview in whatever company. You wouldn't not make sure you're as prepared as you could be. You wouldn't not make sure that you put your best step forward. So that's just the process for these guys' career and their job. So you talk about the pro day and the combine. That is their two job interview. So yeah, they're gonna train really hard and make sure they look as good as they can, and do whatever they can do to succeed, fulfill baseline tests as well as they're supposed to. Because again, we have seen guys multiple times at the end of the collegiate level be super successful. Tim Tebow, Colin Klein. I don't know why those first two came off the top of my head, but both of those guys, Heisman winning quarterbacks. Well, I don't think Colin Klein won a Heisman, but he was a Heisman finalist. Neither one of those guys has sustained success in the NFL. The reasons are different, obviously, but collegiate. I mean, yes. Is there a better way to test, how successful a player is going to be in the NFL? Yeah, but it definitely matters. It definitely matters. You see, if you haven't heard that noise, it's the sound of Devin Lloyd sliding down draft boards after running a 4.7 as a linebacker. Devin Lloyd was a top 10 pick before the combine. And, for my money, he looked like he ran a 4.5 or low 4.4 on tape. But all it does is make you go back and look at the tape. Yeah. People went back and looked at Calvin tape because he ran a 4.32. They knew he was fast, didn't know how fast he was. That dude from Baylor that ran a 4.23. They're going to go back and look at his tape because I didn't know he had that. The dude that Van's missing, 4.36, bigger guy, one of my go-getters that will release soon, kind of prototypical height, weight, speed guy. He's going to get another look at tape. All it is a confirmation or affirmation or denial of what you have seen on tape. Some guys go better than others, but you can't deny it's important because this is how this system, NFL works. This is the interview process.
Okay. So, like you kind of said, guy falls down the draft boards. When is a linebacker plays in the box? When is he ever going to run 40 yards straight? A lot of this stuff doesn't translate to the field,
Nick,
which is my point. And all I'm saying is you call it a test, interview, all of that. Think about some of the smartest kids might not have the best test scores, might go into a room, get test anxiety, that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff goes into the combine technique, and it's not just preparation is what I'm trying to say. Some of the best athletes can test bad.
So Nick, if you was a projected second round receiver, would you go to the NFL combine?
It depends on my make and mold because, for example, one of the guys that fell down the board, Treylon Burks, receiver from Arkansas, big body guy, deep threat, you know what I'm saying? Kind of more of a physical receiver. He went to the combine and ran a 4.55. Is that a bad time? No. But compared to all the other receivers at the combine, is that a bad time? Yes. And that's hurting his draft stock. Is he one of the guys that's going to be moving laterally when he plays? No, he's going to get up the field, eat up your cushion, make a little move, get open, win with physicality, change of speed. He's not going to beat you with straight speed, the change of speed. And I think that's kind of why we need to look at the combine differently because this is a guy that put up 66 receptions and over 1,000 yards against the biggest competition. But he had a 180-yard game versus Alabama on 8 catches. But that's what I'm saying. There should be more value in the tape than value in the combine and looking at a guy run 40 yards. Like you can cut on the tape and see him break away from defenders. Is he going to break away on a 40-yard dash? Probably not. He's a bigger guy. He's 225 pounds at 6'3". That's why I say it.
So, okay, well, with that being said, who was your biggest follower in the combine?
Yeah, it was Treylon Burks.
It was Treylon?
Yeah.
Let me talk about that because the way that you said it, Treylon Burks is one of my favorite prospects in the draft. Talked about him a little bit. He will be a go-getter. But he's always kind of getting, first-round buzz. I don't really need to highlight him anymore. But, I mean, yes, Treylon Burks did not run the time that people expected him to. But, again, for all the reasons that you just said, Nick, he's not falling that far. Treylon Burks will still be a first-round pick. He'll probably still go in the top 20 because scouts and people realize that he has tape against Derek Stingley. He has tape against insert any SEC defensive back in the last 2 years that's not in the NFL. So that's not, it's all it is. It's an interview. It's an interview. So you need to show up like you're ready for an interview. Jordan Davis didn't show up 350 out of shape, not ready to run. He showed up trimmed down, ready to run and ran an incredible time.
Okay, so hold on, time out. Trimmed down, ready to run. Is that the way he's gonna play it day one, week one NFL?
Nick.
Is that the way he's gonna play it week one NFL? You don't, for example, you're not gonna dye your hair black for your interview and then show up on the first day with red hair or dreads, right?
What are you talking about?
I'm saying we're talking about just the difference between the combine and college
It's an
and week one of the
interview,
NFL.
You show of your best self. The biggest thing that people are concerned about with Jordan Davis, how fast is he? Can he play on an up-tempo offense?
And yet again, he's a nose tackle, interior defensive lineman. Is he ever going to run 40 yards straight?
They need
Vance, have you ever in your 4-year playing career in college, have you ever ran 40 yards straight?
So me, I have 40 yards.
You said what?
Dude, I think I'm a good player. Effort and speed and whatever. I was able to make, as you all of us know, what does a coach care about? Where are you on around the ball? So it's just an interview, Nick. It's the same way you interview for any other job or corporation. Present your best foot forward, and then we can go from there. So like I said, it's the best way to evaluate players. No, but the best front offices have the right percentages. A lot more, like you said, on-field production and interviews matter, and the combine is just a combination of denial.
I mean, I just feel like
did Calvin not earn money at the combine?
I mean, everybody knew he was fast before.
But people didn't know what type of fast he was, Nick. If he had ran a 4.4.
Okay, hold on, time out. You put up 8 straight games of 100 plus, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. That's what gets people talking about you. Not how fast you run in the 40. None of that. Because you got to remember, you got to put up the numbers to even get invited to the combine.
All right, Nick.
So,
I don't know why you decided to turn into a Republican when you start recording this show, but I ain't got the time today.
We all had Treylon Burks consensus top 5 receiver, correct? Most likely. Yes. So if he would have came up there and ran a sub 4.35, he probably would have been top 2.
Exactly.
He would have been the first one off my board. He still might be.
He can't get out. He can't get off the line against physical corners, bro. But I mean, hey,
that's definitely cap.
Treylon Burks. Go look at the tape. He can't get out the line against physical corners.
I'm guaranteed I look.
No, if it's a jump ball 50-50, he's gonna win it, but he gotta get off the line first.
And you think corners out here, not named Sauce Gardner, are pressing a dude that's 230 pounds? You think
in the league, yes. In the league,
Jalen Ramsey like 230.
No, in the league, yes, bro.
That's not true. That's not true.
As much as we've seen Mike Evans get pressed by Marshawn Lattimore, yes.
You said what?
As much as we've seen Mike Evans get pressed by Marshawn Lattimore, yes.
Mike almost cussed on here. Mike Evans is not.
He's not what? I don't even like Mike Evans, but he's still getting 1,000 yards every season.
And so we're saying Treylon Burks can be Mike Evans. Give me that. At whatever pick I take him, give me 1,000. Give me 8,000 yard seasons.
I just feel like if he would have had that sub 4.35, I feel like I would have felt a lot more.
There was no way he was gonna run a sub 4.35.
I mean, there was no way. But what do you run, a 4.5?
Yeah, 4.55.
4.55. Deebo Samuel, which is the person everybody compared to, ran a 4.48. And Deebo Samuel was a lot smaller, runs a lot of different routes, and was a different player coming out of South Carolina than Treylon Burks is right now. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt since he made Arkansas look like an actual decent team this year.
Like Nick said, he was probably first team All SEC. Probably should have been an AP All-American.
He should have. I agree. I thought he was the best in college football last year.
He probably was, but I don't think I would hesitate to say any scouts are just. He only ran a 4 or 5, mid 4 or 5. Take him off the board. Nobody's doing it.
But I know it's not that they take him off the board. It's just the fact that it raises more questions and it pushes other guys ahead of him. When in reality, the production speaks for itself.
I mean, they still got him at number 3. They still have him at number 3, but he probably would have been number 1.
To do, Nick.
Yeah, and that's the point. The point I'm making is what Vance just said. It hurts him more than it helps him.
What's wrong with that? You get to, for the guys that have the balls or believe in their skills, it's simply a confirmation of what you've seen on tape. Apparently, Treylon Burks thought he was a low 4.4 guy or mid 4.4 guy. It's apparent that he's not. Whose fault is that? His trainers, him, God? It doesn't matter. But again, because he might have went from a top 10 pick to a late first rounder. You're gonna just throw out the whole combine because we might have legitimately found that he's not able to pull away from guys.
You want another example, Josh? I'll give you my guy that fell. He was supposed to be projected first rounder. The Tennessee Titans, they supposedly really wanted him, or fans of the Titans really wanted to get him in the late first round with their pick. But now he's fell to the late second round, maybe even third round. That's David Bell out of Purdue. Wide receiver, he ran a 4.6. And so now he went from a first round money to being a second round, third rounder.
I mean, David Bell was never a confirmed first rounder. He
never was confirmed, but if he would have came up there ran 4-4, 4-3, he definitely would have went first round, second round. Now he might go third round.
Okay, so we're saying that's a bad thing because we found out
his stock is falling.
Okay, he's not as fast as we thought he was, or at least one or two things happened. He is not as fast as we thought he was. It's kind of hard to believe because I watched David Bell's film when they beat Iowa. He killed them. And or B, he did not prepare in the proper way to run as fast.
Oh, I guarantee you, everybody at the combine prepared. That's not something you don't prepare for. I guarantee
you they did. So we've had people that the combine failed drug tests, so that tells you all rip they didn't prepare.
That's a different thing. That's a different thing. Yes,
it
is because you can.
It's gonna happen. You need to be prepared to do it. Whether it be a run a 40, do some drills, pass a test, do whatever. You have a certain date. And you need to be able to do these things to your maximum ability. Nobody is not a setup. They're not coming in and telling guys, they're not misleading them with drills. They bring them in early enough to where they don't come in the same day and work out. There's nothing wrong with the combine. Well, there is something wrong with the combine because you got the slave owner dynamic, things like that. And it's a little problematic. But in terms of as an evaluation tool, when used properly, there's nothing wrong with it. David Bell failed because David Bell wasn't as fast as we thought he was at the combine.
You turn on the tape and he's beating defenders over the top, breaking away from defenders. Does that mean all the defenders are slow?
No. Why did you run a 4.6 when you look like a 4.4 guy?
As a guy that's fast, moderately fast, a lot of technique goes into the 40. And that's something that's hard to learn.
Okay, but if you have speed on field, you should have speed on the 40.
That's different. Speed on field, I'm standing up. I'm not coming out of 3-point stance. I'm not launching out. I'm getting the ball and going. And that's the difference.
They have a whole prototype for that. Niggas called quicker than fast. You see them say it 1,000 times each year. A guy that looks really good on tape gets quicker laterally or more agile than straight line speed. There's a prototype for that. David Bell did not fall into that category. I think a lot of people thought he was just an outright fast guy. But there was somebody that I seen, I think Peter Schrager, that thought either him or Danny Gray was going to run similar times. There's a big difference between 4.32 and then with David Bell ended up being a 4.6. So he has to explain that. Why did you run this slow? Are you not as fast as we think we are? If you are 4.4, which you'll probably run at Purdue's Pro Day, why did you run a 4.65 at the combine when everybody else ran probably better than expected? These are questions that these are not invalid questions, and these are questions he needs to answer.
Understood. So continuing to talk about the combine, moving kind of towards the draft, who is the best prospects in this year's class? Like if you had the number one pick, regardless of what team you have, whatever, who would you take as that surefire guy that's going to, take your franchise to the next level?
For me, I'm always a big better on talent. They talk about talent and need. Because you can be the best right guard since Zach Martin, but I'm not gonna take you the first pick because the talent and value scale doesn't weigh up. So for me, it's Kayvon Thibodeaux, premier guy at a premier position in the NFL right now. Let me just throw out some stuff at y'all, and it'll just kind of give you a ballpark of what the kind of guy that I think he is. So Kayvon Thibodeaux, combine measurement 6'4", 254. Officially a 4.58, 27 reps on the bench press. Very impressive for a guy with long arms. And his best season was 2019, his freshman year, actually. We had 9 sacks and 14 TFLs. So, that's his stat line. Let me give you Myles Garrett for his freshman year at Texas A&M. His combine measurement 6'4", 272, ran a 4.64, 33 reps on the bench. He had 11 sacks and 12 TFLs in his best season at A&M. Khalil Mack, 6'4", 252, so smaller than Kayvon Thibodeaux. 23 reps, not as strong. And his best season at Buffalo, he had 8 sacks and 21 TFLs. Von Miller, probably the prototype, honestly, of standard for pass rushers, 6'3", 246, 4.53 40, 21 reps, 10 sacks and 17 TFLs in his 22 season at Texas A&M. But Look, just doing research. Von Miller had a season at Texas, and then we had 17 sacks. So that's crazy. So I don't know if he can get that high, but still, I mean, y'all are not dumb. Sometimes I think y'all are, but I don't think y'all are in totality. So you hear Kayvon Thibodeaux, you hear kind of the names, the guys I threw out, and you see the similarity in stats, measurements, testing numbers. I see Kayvon Thibodeaux as that type of guy. He's been the number one recruit in his high school class since he was a 10th grader. Started immediately at Oregon. All freshman, all American. Consistent contributor when he was there. Injuries kind of knocked him off track, but what I see on tape, the next Miles Khalil Vaughn, elite get off, elite measurables, talking about his bend, talking about his speed, talking about his length. And he just looked like the next one to me, man. Like I said, I think Von Miller may be too high for him to get because they only make a couple of those. But Myles Garrett, Khalil Mack, I think those are, pretty, dominant edge rushing threats, perennial Pro Bowlers. I think that's what I see Kayvon Thibodeaux.
I like your Thibodeaux pick. I was gonna go with Thibodeaux, but I'm not, just for one main reason. That's gonna be injuries, bro. Like you said, Josh. The guy I'm gonna go with, I think he's the best player. No, I know he's the best player at his position. And that's only because the other guy that might be number 2 or maybe even number 1 didn't even play last season. And the guy I'm gonna go with as the number 1 pick, the number 1 player is been the most dominant player without a doubt in the past 2 years of college football. That's Ahmad Sauce Gardner, 6'2", 190, ran a 4.47. He hasn't allowed a touchdown in 1,059 coverage snaps in his career, bro. Say he doesn't plan on giving up a touchdown to pros either, and I believe him. So I'm gonna go with Sauce Gardner.
Relax.
He's been the most dominant player in college football.
No, I'm just saying, he's talking about he never will give a touchdown up in the pro. I'm like, confident. Calm down.
Yeah,
calm down.
I mean,
man like Sauce, you can't fail.
South, I believe him.
Why the NFL Network have him testing random? That was weird. Y'all seen that where they blindfolded him, had him tipping destined to different sauces? That was weird. That was very weird. You ain't seen it, Nick? You saw it, man?
I ain't seen it.
Oh, y'all go look that up. That was really weird. Definitely some Caucasian persuasion going on with that idea. But I mean, I like the big fans. Sauce is not really getting a lot of number 1 hype. Honestly, it's been a Kongwu, Hutchinson, Thibodeaux, and that's really it. Honestly, that's really been
Neal.
it. Yeah,
Neal
Cross. Too. And number 1, haven't been hearing a lot about Cross, but people saying he's been the top tackle because of air raid or whatever. But I like your pick, man. Sauce Gardner, everything you want in the current DB, 6'2", 6'3". Again, talk about the combine debate. There were questions about his straight line speed. Check that off with a 4.47. Look super smooth in the drills. Got the personality, got the skill set, got the take, got the production, got the prestige.
Like how many lockdown corners are there in the NFL right now? Maybe 3. Like I think Ramsey dropped off, especially after that Super Bowl. I don't think he's locked down anymore. I think he's dominant. I think he's locked down. I think he's dominant, but not locked down.
They do too much with him to call him a corner anymore. So I mean, consider him the corner talk. What you talk about lockdown corners? You got guys like Jair Alexander, Denzel Ward, just locked down. You got Gilly. Whenever he's healthy, he's a lockdown guy.
Who was that?
Stephon Gilmore.
Gilmore.
Yeah. Trey White, of course, got hurt last year. I think
when you look at all these receivers, bro, that's just running all these crazy times and going crazy just in the league, like actual football, you're going to need a corner that you can throw out there and put on their number 1.
That's a fact. And so, for me, I'm going to switch sides of the ball. Y'all say defensive guys, surefire pick. That's cool. But a surefire number one, your number 1 priority on a football team is your quarterback, right? So the best prospect in this draft should be able to protect your quarterback, right?
Oh,
and this is a guy.
Right there,
yeah. And so my guy, the surefire best prospect in this draft, I got to go with Evan Neal out of Alabama, man. You look at his tape, he's only allowed 24 pressures over 2 seasons. And you look at these 2 seasons, you're going to see something different. You don't think they flipped the image or something. He started last season at left tackle, started this season at right tackle. So that kind of offensive line versatility is very important, and it allows him to kind of come in and be a day one guy. Because when you have that experience on the left side, on the right side, there's two different positions essentially. And that allows for him to be a plug and play guy in any system, whether you want him at left tackle, protecting your quarterback's blind side, or you want him at right tackle, being more of a physical run blocking kind of guy. And so you look at him, he's a massive dude, 6'7", 350. And I think he has the potential to be like one of those bookend guys that you can put there and just not have anything to worry about. Kind of similar to, you know what I'm saying, kind of a Tristan Wirfs kind of guy.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. Evan Neal showed up to the combine in outstanding shape. And it came like 330. And I think everybody's seen the video of him, splitting the boxes or whatever. Like I said, big time program, position versatility. But I guess it's kind of, this draft of this. I love it. I love analyzing both NBA and NFL. But it can get a little unrealistic. So I think it's kind of been trending towards Okongwu and Cross right now. But I think Neal was a solidified top 5 prospect at the start of the season. And I think that means something. So good pick by you, Nick. I definitely think I don't know. I don't know if he's the best tackle in this draft, but I think it's between him and Okongwu. And like you said, if you can get a franchise left tackle, you get him wherever you can. Don't even matter to pick, honestly.
I mean, I think that shows just how deep this draft is. Like, you don't know if Neal's the best offensive tackle in the game. I don't even know if Sauce Gardner's the best corner, because Stingley, he ain't played in over a year. So we don't know how he's coming. His pro day is coming like beginning of April, something like that, April 6th.
And they just dropped him Jamar Chase Stingley one-on-ones.
Hey, we haven't seen him play in over a year. He quit on his team last season.
Why you saying like that? Did you say like you was right on the album or something? This time they finally dropped them one-on-one.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie.
It was a mixtape one.
I saw them.
I saw that Stingley Chase tape, baby.
I'm watching the thing at Jamar finna he, and all I see is Stingley put him in that phone booth. I said, hold on. I kind of forgot about, bro.
There was one out route where Jamar got him, but you're right.
But no, Jamar lost the initial move and he had to recover.
But I mean, that's very true. But to the naked eye, he caught the ball. So, but you're right.
Out of all the players we just named, who do you think has the biggest gap in talent over their peers in the same position? So Neal compared to his peers, Thibodeau compared to, I guess, Hutchinson is the only other person really on his level. And then
Jordan Kalafdis, go getter.
I think the guy who has the most separation in terms of at that position, I have to say Evan Neal, just because of his versatility. You got a lot of guys coming in there, solely right side guys, solely left side guys. You know what I'm saying? But Evan Neal, you got a guy who can go both sides and could put, he's like, I don't want to call him a unicorn because that's a basketball term, but a guy who moves that quick, is that big, and is that versatile is rare.
What about you, Josh?
For me, I'm gonna talk about it in my segment later while I rank the corners, but I see it as I'll say corners because I think you talk about Sauce and Stingley. I had a teammate here at PV that was on the Bootleggers with Derek Stingley in high school. Doesn't ever shut up about him, and even before this season, talking about he's a bigger guy. What I'm trying to say is, talent wise, Stingley and Sauce probably tit for tat. But then once you go past those two, it's a big drop off, like a very big drop off. Talk about Trent McDuffie, Andrew Booth, Roger McCreary, guys like that. But the only two legitimate, like you say, guys that had a chance to be locked down in this draft are Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley. And I think honestly they both would end up being, because you look at some of that 2019 tape from Derek Stingley his freshman year, it's ridiculous. I ain't gonna lie. There's a reason why he's still as highly regarded as he is now, despite not being the same player in the last 2 years. And there's a reason why some people talk about he was the best freshman ever to be the best freshman ever in the SEC. Like that 2019 tape is pretty ridiculous. But it's a classic debate. You have one guy that may have a higher peak, Stingley, versus a guy that's done it more consistently in Sauce Gardner, who's had a damn good peak himself. So this is you can't go wrong with either one P5, one not. One very highly critical high school, one not as Sauce like a 3-star. But I like it both. But outside of those two, I don't see a first round corner. So that would be my team, my group.
To wrap up our NFL Combine segment, what we're gonna do for y'all is we're gonna rank the top three at three premier positions, talking about corners, receivers, and quarterbacks. So Josh, go and get it started and give us your top three corners in this year's draft.
First of all, we're going to talk about premier position. We definitely need to talk about interior defensive alignment, but guess I'll let this is your show. I guess I'll let it slide. I'll just do as I'm told. Working for Lick is like working for the white man. Jesus Christ. We talked a little bit about it earlier. I was given the task of ranking the cornerbacks. So my cohorts told me to go 3-1 because I kind of ruined it a little bit earlier with my analysis. But my third corner, interesting. So you got, probably Nick can attest to more than me. Defensive back is a very much an evolving position because the receivers are an evolving position. So you got guys, slide guys. You got guys, slide 5'9", that are super quick, side to side, graded man, graded mirror receivers, good can operate his own, this and that, whatever. You got your typical bigger X corners. You guys are gonna kind of chase your Jalen Ramsey type. That's gonna follow your number one, play a lot of press man, be a ball hawk, chase downfield, stuff like that. So it's a good mix in this corner group. For 3, I thought it was 5. Tried it down to 3. It was really tough. The 3 that's in the mix that's Trent McDuffie, smaller nickel out of Washington, Andrew Booth, more of a boundary corner from Clemson, and Roger McCreary, another taller boundary guy from Auburn. And at the end, man, I have to go with what I see in terms of eye test. There's so much tape out there of Roger McCreary against elite guys. Talking about a Justin Jefferson, talking about a Jamar Chase, talking about that crazy Alabama core, Judy, Devontae Smith, Water, all of those guys, and that's just 2 SEC teams. So the competition that he went in against week in and week out, which is probably more important at corner than any other spot, because your best athletes on the football field are probably going to be your receivers. The stuff that he's probably seen, just even at practice and in games, like he's seen a lot. He's a tough, disciplined guy, good man corner. He's not a Sauce Gardner, but like I said, there's a big gap. So he's my number 3 guy, just a slight over Trent McDuffie and Andrew Booth, 2 good guys. But like I literally have my notes. I have 1, 2, and the third one is literally big gap, and then I have my other guys. So jumping into my second one, Derek Stingley. I don't really want to say 2. I feel like it's more 1A, 1B because honestly, at his peak, I feel as if Derek Stingley is a little bit better than Sauce Gardner. Like I said, 6'1", hovers around 205 pounds. Everything that you want in a corner. Like you said, we talk about the seeing Derek Stingley work against. That's the thing with these SEC guys. They have a lot of tape against guys, very talented guys. Jamar Chase is arguably the best receiver in football, and we have tape of Derek Stingley give him a really hard time. So, I don't think Sauce Gardner can be that good. So I would give Derek Stingley 1B just because he's the guy we've seen to do it. He hasn't been really good since 2019. We haven't seen that version of him. And then Sauce Gardner, man, Van threw him out there for the number 1 pick conversation. I don't think anything is wrong with that. Everything that you want in the corner, size, speed, man, press, went up against quality competition, considering Cincinnati, played up, talking about, trying to get that CFP bid. So they end up playing Alabama, played at Notre Dame, played at Indiana, played against a Calvin Austin at Memphis. And again, literally, touchdowns allowed in his 3-year college career. But let me ask you, Nick, because again, you're a guy that runs up against DBs each and every week. How do you evaluate this class?
Just if you can sit in that booth, man. Like if you can play man coverage, that's what separates a good corner from a great corner. Just scheme versatility, and that's why I kind of agree with your list. You got a guy in Sauce number 1, obviously shutdown corner, long range, he can do a lot. Guy number 2, Derek Stingley, lockdown man-to-man, quick feet, side-to-side, laterally, real press in your face corner. And then number 3, Roger McCreary, another physical guy. Like I really agree with your list. I like the way you put it together, man.
But what do you think about Roger McCreary versus Trent McDuffie, Andrew Booth? Because Trent McDuffie, if you're All-American, he looks more like a nickel. Andrew Booth, I think, looks a little better than Roger McCreary on tape. looks a little bit more fluid, a little more comfortable playing man and turning his hips. But like I said, just the competition week in and week out gave Roger McCreary the advantage for me. But how do you see those three guys?
I think McCreary had more competition with Booth because they play more of a similar style, similar position. And I just give McCreary the advantage because he's a physical guy. One, it takes a lot of confidence in your game to be physical with a guy at the line of scrimmage. And two, that just shows you got skill. If you can be physical with a guy at the line of scrimmage, you're not worried about getting beat deep, all that kind of stuff. Because you got speed, all of that. You got technique. And that's kind of why I put him above Booth, because he's not scared to get in somebody's face.
The only thing I will say, my bad, sorry, man. Roger McCreary, you do scout the helmet. It's just a natural thing that you do. There wasn't an immediate comp that popped out for me with Roger McCreary, but watching Andrew Booth, just the size, fluidity, the comfortability, and man, and also the frame in terms of not being the biggest guy, AJ Terrell just screamed that at me. And that's a guy that we see is a pro. I think he made a Pro Bowl this year. He made a Pro Bowl this year. Yeah. So I think that's a very realistic comp for him. And if he can turn into AJ Terrell, especially as quickly as AJ Terrell turned into AJ Terrell, that's a guy you select in the first 30 picks, 32.
So moving on, now I got the list top 3 receivers. Y'all might have a little debate with this list, but I like this list. So number 3, I got to go with Chris Olave. Over Garrett Wilson, you might ask? Yes. Consistency over his 3 playing years at Ohio State. Put up 936 yards this season, 729 last year, 849 his sophomore year. Talented guy, creates a lot of separation, especially downfield and on those boundary routes. He's one of those guys that you can isolate and say, hey, win one-on-one, and he's going to come out victorious. He's a consistent touchdown threat, 65 catches, 13 touchdowns. That's a really good ratio, and that's why I like Olave. Number 2, I got to go with Jameson Williams. In my opinion, he's the best deep threat receiver in this class with 19.9 yards per reception. So this season, 79 receptions, over 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns on top of that. And if you look at him, you look at that 19.9 yards per reception, you think he's catching a lot of deep balls, a lot of things like that. But no, he also has that yak ability. Get the ball in his hands, he can make something shake. And if you look at him, just watch the tape. You look at his routes, the top of those routes, too much sauce. Create separation at every level, whether it be short, intermediate, deep route. And that's why he's one of the more complete receivers in this year's drafts. However, number 1, I got to go with Drake London. Big body, 6'5", 210 from USC.
He's 6'5".
Yes.
Damn.
Unfortunately, he got his season cut short due to a broken ankle, if I remember right. But listen to this: 8 games, 88 catches, over 1,100 yards, 7 tutties. Stupid. It's just it almost doesn't make sense, bro.
Damn. I didn't know he was 6'5". I'm thinking he like 6'2".
Big body.
No, you see Drake London's tape. I like your list. Actually, Nick, I hate to agree with you, but that was a really good list. Really, to me, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson are the same player. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a receiver, so I don't know how much separates them. Both 6'6", create a lot of separation, very nice routes. So one's light skin, one's brown, whatever. Well, one ran a 4.2, one ran a 4.3, but again, whatever. I literally have them as side by side on my list. Drake London, surprised you picked him. More on my type of receiver, talking about a prototypical, just height, weight, speed mismatch, a guy that you can't really necessarily cover because, to my knowledge, there's not even 6'5" DBs in the NFL. So he's always going to be at least semi-open. You talk about the production. Questions about his straight line speed, again, that's a thing to where he chose not to do the combine. Now it's just going to kind of be up in the air until, whatever team drafts him. Or I guess it's pro day at USC, but we always know that number's a little iffy or whatever. But, you talked about the debate earlier. Drake London comes to the combine and runs a low 4.4. He's automatically the number 1 guy on your board. He house Burks, whatever. And if he runs a 4.65, you probably have Burks first and him you're third or not on the list. So it's just, this thing is fluid, especially around this time of year. But let me ask you, Nick. Let me ask you about the 2 guys that we had mentioned before that didn't make your list. Talking about Treylon Burks and Garrett Wilson, and also I try not to be too much of a homer on this episode, but a guy that you mentioned, we both mentioned, and probably the most productive guy in this class, Calvin Austin. What do you think about those three?
All right, so starting with Traylon Burks, I think he's definitely in that top 5, top 6 range. He just kind of missed the cut of top 3 because a lot of his stuff is deep routes, not a whole lot of change of direction, a lot of one stick and go type things. So that's kind of why I left him off this list. And then talking about Garrett Wilson, he's a guy who's very versatile. I was kind of debating between him and Chris Olave because Garrett Wilson, a guy who played 70% of his snaps last season in the slot, played 70% of his snaps this season on the outside because of the rise of Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I like his versatility and things like that, but I think Olave just has just gives you a lot more in terms of separation and go get it potential. You know what I'm saying? Just really ISO ball potential. And then talking about Calvin, I love Calvin's game. Real speedster. He's right outside that top 5 because if you look at the production, you can't deny the production. Being a 5'8" or whatever X receiver is hard, and he got the job done week in and week out. However, I just kind of left him outside the top 3 because in the league, I think he figures to be more of a gadget guy, kind of a Tyreek Hill, Rondale Moore, Tavon Austin, get a lot of sweeps, a lot of quick routes, a lot of just get the ball in his hands and let him go. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a knock on him. But I think when you look at these top 3 receivers, I think they all just have that value as a receiver solely. So if you take the gadget stuff away from Calvin, I'm not sure how he lines up against these 3 receivers as just a pure receiver.
You know what's crazy is just because they was older than the one player that's going to be in the draft next year, I think those 2 are actually not even better than Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State.
That's
you
a fact.
Talk about Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. 16 catches, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. Never seen that in my life, bro. Never seen that in my life. I don't think a video game.
I don't think Wilson and Olave played that game. Huh?
They did it. I mean, he was there by himself. Utah had a top 5 defense.
Yeah, but he went crazy in that game. He went crazy.
Man, but I mean, I do like that list a lot. Like you said, I think Olave and Garrett Wilson are basically the same dude, bro. Copy and paste. But
let me ask you something. Nick, before you Vance reveals probably the most interesting group out of all of us. What is the difference between Drake London and Treylon Burks? Because for my inexperienced eye, they look very similar in terms of bigger body guys that are going to go get the football downfield. Drake London's Drake London's a little bit bigger, but break down. Let me know why you got one of your top 3, one that's your top receiver, and one that's not in that top 5.
Well, simply put, it's the production. You play 8 games compared to a whole season. 88 receptions, 7 touchdowns, 19 contested catches, which led FBS. I think that's all you got to look at right there. Right. The production Drake London did in 8 games versus what Treylon Burks did over 12, 13 games. I think that alone speaks for itself. In Drake London, you can knock the Pac-12 but not having a lot of defense, but it's still hard to go out there week in and week out. Everybody knows you're that guy. And to still produce, that's 11 catches a game, bro. 8 games, 88 receptions, that's 11 catches a game. And that's hard to do.
All right, I know my list is gonna be the most interesting out of all of y'all because I only have one Power 5 QB in my top 3, and I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know. Y'all might not even think it's the quarterback that y'all think it's gonna be. But anyways, I'm gonna go with number 3, Bailey Zappi out of Western Kentucky. 6'1", 220. I'm not a big fan of this quarterback draft. Like you guys know.
I see.
I'm not a believer. I'm not that much of a believer. I'm sure that one of these guys is gonna bust at the 3 spot, but I'm gonna go with Bailey Zappi, Western Kentucky. He's a 2-time all-time record holder in college football. He had almost 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns. So I you can't deny what he did in just that time that he played. At number 2, I'm gonna go with the most exciting quarterback in college football last season, and that's Matt Corral, 6'2", 205. I'm calling it right now. He's a future Seattle Seahawk. He's the ultimate playmaker. He can stretch the field and make any throw. I feel like the only question mark that he has on him is he a system quarterback because he played under Lane Kiffin? That's the only question I have. And with that being said, my number 1 pick is the guy that shined the most in the Senior Bowl. He outplayed Zappi and Sam Howell at the Senior Bowl practices, and that's Malik Willis. He's 6'1", 215. I mean, we have questions about him. He had to transfer out of Auburn. He didn't get the chances that he wanted, and he didn't play against much Power Five competition. But considering that he played at Liberty, but just the fact that he basically separated himself from his counterparts at that Senior Bowl. I think, like you guys said, what happens on the field matters the most, bro. And he showed out on that field. So I'm gonna have to go. Malik Willis is the best QB prospect.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think the same questions you have about Matt Corral, you should have about Malik Willis, considering he came from that Hugh Freeze system at Liberty, and it was a very quarterback-friendly system, a whole lot of lock on to one side of the field, one receiver reads. So I have a lot of questions about Malik Willis. Personally, Matt Corral would have been my number one quarterback, but I don't have a problem with you putting Malik Willis first. And I love the Bailey Zappi pick. Broke all the Joe Burrow records.
At 3.
Yeah, most definitely. You put up 6,000 yards, break Joe Burrow's records. Come on now. Joe Burrow was just in the Super Bowl. And yes, I mean, it was an air raid, but still.
So what do you think about Kenny Pickett and Sam Howell?
I like Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett got some swag to him, double glove Pickett, pulled out the fake slide, all of that. I think he's got a lot of potential, especially being a bigger guy with some athleticism as well. And I think he falls more into that development, like let him sit here, learn, and then throw him in. Because he did his thing at Pittsburgh. I can't remember what their record was, but I know they were in the ACC championship game, which they won. So I think that's major for him. And then talking about Sam Howell, he's garbage. Next.
Wow. Well, what is your opinion on Desmond Ridder, Josh? Where would you rank him in this upcoming draft? And please do not say number 1.
When I thought it was 5, I thought I have him 3rd. My list was Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Sam Howell. 4.52 is an elite. I'm sorry. 4.52 is an elite 40 time for a quarterback, especially a guy as big as Desmond Ridder. Certified winner at Cincinnati. Definitely struggles with accuracy. I don't think he struggles with arm strength. And to me, that sounds like Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts is a second-round quarterback. And I think a lot of people think Jalen Hurts is probably the most talented quarterback out of his QB class so far. So I don't know. I think both Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder kind of favor Jalen Hurts in certain aspects. I think Malik Willis is favors in terms of play style, bulkier guy. Jalen Hurts is very fast, but he's not a guy he's not Lamar Jackson. He's more of a power back, I guess, more of a Cam Newton, I guess, in terms of a guy that's gonna run through more tackles versus Desmond Ridder. He's more of a guy that he's what Desmond Ridder is what Jalen Hurts looks like. Malik Willis is what Jalen Hurts plays like. Both good and bad. So I like Matt Corral a lot. Don't know how much you're gonna succeed as a 6'1" quarterback if you're not Drew Brees or you don't run sub 4.5. Sam Howell, I was one of his biggest fans going into the season. I know I've been really calling him a Heisman candidate for at least 2 years now. A lot of people call him Baker Mayfield now. That's not the best comparison. So yeah, but I guess I can just have him off. He still has good arm power, good prestige. Had almost 1,000 rushing yards this season. But the question was Desmond Ridder. I did a ramble, of course. Not a first rounder but anytime after 35 or 40, I was like, take a chance on him. The big guy with a lot of tools.
Another episode of No Cap Sports. Of course, another edition of Game Balls. So I'm gonna go first. Got to give my game ball to Will Barton, former Memphis Tiger, current Denver Nugget, and he just became the Nuggets' all-time 3-point made leader. 769 made threes. We're not gonna talk about his 3-point percentage. We're just gonna talk about the fact that he's the record holder now. So shout out to Will the Thrill, man.
Love it, man. Continuing the Memphis basketball theme, I got to give my game ball to another Tigers swingman who has a propensity to hit tough shots. Leonard Nolly. I think he's a senior this year for Penny's Tigers. 6'6", 6'7" dude that operates on the wing, tough shot creator, and he's been one of the biggest reasons behind this spark. This late NCAA tournament charge for Memphis. He scored in double figures out of pass. I think 13 out of the past 15 games. Had a kind of a stinker versus USF recently, but was really big in both Houston games. Was big in the Cincinnati game. Was big in the I'm missing one I know. Was big early in the season versus Virginia Tech. When Landers Nolley plays well, this is a really good team. We all of us know that this Terrence team has lacked chemistry, lacked togetherness, and lacked cohesiveness. And for a big part of the season, he was a big reason behind that. Behind him, Lester, DeAndre Williams, older guys not behaving like older guys. I'll say it like that. But for better or worse, Amani Bates has not been the guy he's supposed to be. Atlanta was going to kind of be the odd man out in terms of who shots he was going to take. With him no longer being an immediate threat, when the shots are playing time, Leonard feels a lot more comfortable. And then, like Van said before, like this is a dude that he doesn't think is good, doesn't look like a prototypical NBA guy. I think he might be able to do some damage in the league just because guys that can take and make tough shots at his size are always valuable. So yeah, like man, him and DeAndre are the catalyst for this team. Obviously, Jalen Duren is the most talented and best NBA prospect. But when you talk about how deep can this Tiger team go in the NCAA tournament, that question lies solely at the feet of Landon Nolley and DeAndre Williams. And this past month or so, they've been answering it quite resoundingly. So let's hope that trend continues.
Man, yeah. A couple of notes. Landers is a junior. The second one is shout out to the Tigers for beating Houston, solidifying a tournament appearance. First one since 2014. It's almost been 10 years. That's crazy, man. It feels like.
When was the last Tigers team that made?
Probably Will Barton and probably Will Barton was in college. I'm pretty sure.
It was Josh Passon. I can't remember who was on the team. No, it wasn't Will Barton. No. Will Barton was with California.
DJ Lawson didn't make it. I don't think.
No. None of the Lawson.
It was Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson.
He was with Will Barton in them.
Joe Jackson.
Will Barton. It was the Barton brothers, Joe Jackson. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was 2014. But I mean, either way, shout out to them for being Houston. They had the phenom, high school phenom, Emmanuel Hansel in the building. Shout out to him getting a scholarship offer from Penny Hardaway. But with that being said, I'm gonna go with one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen, age 37 years old, future Memphis Grizzly when his son Bronny gets drafted. That's LeBron James. 56 points, 37 years old. He's almost 40. And he needed all 56 points to beat the Warriors, bro. He's almost 40 doing crazy stuff like this. I've never seen it in my life. You got to respect it. Whether you love him or you hate him, you got to respect it, bro. 56 points. Most this season, I'm going to go LeBron James game ball.
Facts.
LeBron James.
That's facts. And so, yet again, that wraps this episode up. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow us on the socials, and we out of here.
Boom.